Whenever I'm defending a particular perspective, I'm immediately positioned as being the opponent of another perspective. For example, if I say, look, these protesters have a right to be out there in Ferguson, even right now, people say, yes, but what about the dead cops? As if supporting protesters means that you also support the shooting of cops. It's not either or, it's both and. I don't want people to shoot cops, and I want people to continue to protest against injustice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gimme 5, Marc Lamont Hill. And Marc Lamont Hill is once again, to me, he's one of the biggest anti-cop, in my opinion, anti-cop. He once sued a cop in Philadelphia, I believe for $1 million, okay? So I think anything he says on CNN should be put forth with that disclaimer that Marc Lamont Hill's opinion on police may be tainted by the fact that he believes he was harassed by a cop, so much so that he sued him for $1 million. But CNN never says that. I've never heard them say that. And he's, he doesn't want us, yes, a couple of cops were shot. Yeah, but, here's more.
We often then attach a layer of equivalency to this stuff that doesn't equate. For example, even in this segment, we're framing it as, some people are talking about black youth, other people are talking about the war on police, and both people have it wrong. The truth here is that there is a war on black youth. Now, we may debate the complexity and the depth of it, and we may have some debates about what that means, but to be sure, there's evidence that black men are getting shot, and that's something we need to investigate.
Black men are getting shot. What does that mean? If he's talking about by other black men, yeah. If he's talking about black men being shot by police, yeah, so are white men. I mean, Bill O'Reilly gave the stats not too long ago, and he got that from Justice Department, official government statistics. It was 135 black men killed last year by police, or the last year that the statistics were available, and 350 white people. Now, people like Marc Lamont Hill scoffed at that. Oh, well, there's so many more white people than black, so it's disproportionate. What does that mean? And let me tell you something, Marc Lamont Hill. A total of 126 police officers were killed in 2014. That's a 24% increase. You had this thug in Ferguson shooting at 2 cops who were lucky to be alive. You had cops in LA yesterday who were shot at in a police car. And you had a cop in Queens, New York today, shot at by a thug. And he talks about an epidemic of blacks being shot by police. There's no epidemic. More.
There have been assaults on police in this country, but there is certainly a difference in terms of the type of assault that happens on black youth versus the type of assault that happens with police. Police have a very tough job that they sign up for. I never want to see a police officer shot. I think it's an awful thing to happen, but it is a job that they sign up for, and it happens far less frequently than it does for black men in America. It's a different conversation. Again, I'm not saying it's not an important conversation, but they're not opposite sides of the same coin, and I think that's the problem here.
It happens far less frequently than to black men in America. Again, if he's talking about blacks who are shot, yeah. If he's talking about blacks who are shot by cops, no. Let me give you a statistic. There are about 1.6 million, and I got this from the government, 1.6 million police officers in the country, okay? 1.6 million. If 126 of them were killed last year out of 1.6 million, that is a significantly smaller percentage than you give O'Reilly statistics, 150 or so, 135 black men killed by cops. You know how many black men there are between the ages of 15 and 29? And I'm just going between 15 and 29. I could expand it, but I'm keeping it small. 9.3 million in the last census. So 135 out of 9.3 million for blacks shot by cops, black men between those ages, compared to just about the same number of people shot in a pool of 1.6 million. So for him to sit there and say, oh, it's much more black men. No, it's not. Not percentage-wise, it's not. And unless he's talking about all black men who are shot, and most of those, the overwhelming majority of those, are shot by other black men. But if he's talking about cops, which I think he is, once again, Marc Lamont Hill's bias against cops comes roaring out of his mouth, and nobody checks him on it. Your Newsmax Now update is next.